сессии. А сейчас я хотел бы передать слово президенту Санкт-Петербургской международной товарно-сырьевой биржи господину Алексею Эрнестовичу Рыбникову. Алексей Эрнестович, рад видеть вас среди участников нашей конференции. Вам слово, пожалуйста.
Thank you very much, Alexei. I'll switch to English from the very beginning to make it easier for other people. I hope I'm seen and heard okay. Frankly, I have very mixed feelings about this conference. On the one hand, it's definitely a pity that I don't have the ability to see everyone in blood and flesh. I'd like to shake hands with Ahmed, but I can only do that on the video and with other people. I'd love to meet many other speakers in blood and flesh, because I think we have a lot of things to discuss. But on the other hand, the world is becoming not only more cautious, it's also becoming more efficient. And after the dust settles down and everything gets back to normal, and I don't have any doubt that everything will get back to normal at some point, and we will get back to travel, every time we will intend to travel, we will ask ourselves, is it really worth it? Maybe we should just talk over Zoom or Skype or WhatsApp, whatever. So definitely these events, this crisis is changing the world. It's definitely changing communications. And I think it will also change a lot of other things. And in fact, today, I want to share some initial ideas, initial views, what we think about the direction of change that the world is probably going to take as a result of this crisis. If you look at the name of our presentation, we named it Efficient Price Discovery and E-Trading Mechanism, which is definitely describing what we are and how we do it. Next slide, please. With over 10 years of experience in primarily Russian energy markets, we are Russia's commodities exchange, owned by the major Russian companies, with Rosneft, the major Russian oil producer, being the largest shareholder of SPIMEX. In fact, they have just increased their share 13 to 20% to be the largest shareholder of SPIMEX. The next one is Transneft with 20% shareholding interest. We have been operating throughout these years as primarily a physical platform. And the figures that you see below, volume-wise or in terms of the number of contracts, they do not impress, of course. If you look at us from the point of view of a international commodity exchange, which is a derivatives exchange, we are not. We are a physical platform. And in addition to our price discovery role, we play the role of facilitating the actual sale of different types of commodities by Russian producers to primarily Russian consumers. And that we have been doing for over 10 years now. Next slide, please. We trade about 21 million tons of refined products per year, which is over 20% of domestic consumption of gasoline, diesel fuel, jet fuel in Russia. Crude oil domestically, we don't do a lot, but some. We are the only exchange in Russia which trades physical natural gas, and it's not only Gazprom's gas, it's also gas produced by Rosneft and Novatek and other people. We have entered timber trading business, and that is growing very, very fast, given the fact that Russia is one of the biggest producers, if not the biggest producer of timber in the world, both for domestic market consumption and exports. We started to do fertilizers, we started to do coal in the physical format, but which is extremely important, we also started to do derivatives at last, which is developing, frankly, very, very slow for a number of reasons, but we have at least been able to launch this market, and it's growing very, very fast. Next slide, please. Next. As I said, 21 million tons last year. Let's look at what's happening now. I think all countries in the world, as a result of this crisis, experienced more or less the same phenomenon. Dramatic decrease in demand and dramatic decrease in consumption of gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel. Russia is no exception in this case. According to different estimates, domestically, we have witnessed a decline of consumption of gasoline of anywhere between 30 and 40%. Diesel fuel, roughly the same amounts. People here are talking about a decrease of jet fuel use up to 60%. But if you look at our numbers, you won't see this. We have seen a decline in exchange trading of these products of about 15% for gasoline. We have seen an increase in diesel sales through the exchange. We have seen a significant increase in jet fuel sales through the exchange. And that is because in a situation when everyone is not in the office and everything is distant, everything is electronic, everything is through telecommunications, the exchange is the mechanism which is there, which is functioning, which is fully operational. You can access it from anywhere. And I think companies, both producers and consumers, have appreciated the value of being able to trade everything electronically. So the volume of physical trading is actually going up. And this is one of the immediate results of the crisis that we are seeing here. Next slide, please. I won't go into details, but basically we sell refined products produced by every single major producer in Russia. They are transported by railroad, they are transported by trucks, ex-works, they are transported by pipe, refined products pipe owned by Transneft. And we build a system where you do not only struck a deal on the exchange, we build a system when whatever we do on exchange is followed by clearing, settlement, we control physical delivery, we interact with Transneft and Russian railroads to ensure transportation, we control how deals are settled, how fuel is delivered. And in fact, with Transneft, Gazprom, and Russian railroads, we interact electronically, exchanging files, which allows us to control every single phase of the life of the transaction. We think that as a result of this crisis, the trend in that direction will only strengthen. And in fact, we have, in the past several weeks, seen a very increased level of discussion and cooperation with our major Russian natural monopoly transportation systems, which are interested in interacting with us to ensure that whatever is produced is smoothly flowing through the logistical system and transportation systems. Next slide, please. Next. And next. Natural gas. We have touched upon this topic already during this session, and thank you, Ahmed, again for the very interesting presentation and discussion of what is going on in the Turkish market and in the international market. For the Russian market, exchange trading is still a fully domestic play. There's still this law in existence in Russia that Gazprom is the only allowed monopoly exporter of natural gas outside of Russia. This is not only commercial, but definitely a political issue that we see in our daily activity. So whatever we do in the trading of natural gas is only destined for the domestic market. But with the full cooperation of Gazprom, we have managed to build a very efficient system for trading and delivering natural gas to market participants. And in fact, we operate with a together with Gazprom itself, together with Gazprom's subsidiary, which is charged with ensuring delivery is effected through the Gazprom pipeline. We trade different kinds of physical products, next month volumes, particular days volumes, but again, these are only physical volumes at this stage. We are discussing with market participants launching a derivatives market in the gas segment, which we expect to become operational by the end of this year. This is one of the major projects for us. And the other one is launching a system of commercial balancing of the pipeline system, which is really a systemic turning point, we think, in the functioning of the Russian gas industry. Again, this is only a domestic play, but here and there we're involved in different international initiatives, primarily around the neighboring countries of Russia, discussing the technicalities of trading and delivering gas from Russia to the neighboring countries. But again, here we depend on the political decisions, and once the decisions are taken, we will be able to quickly execute, because technically we are fully prepared for that. Next slide. And next. Next. Crude oil. Now, this is a very interesting part of discussion, and you know, here this is definitely something that I miss. At some point, it would be great to discuss different ideas about trading crude oil in today's world with other members of the panel, but I hope this time will come at some point. We do trade some physical crude oil for domestic market, but these are not impressive volumes. In fact, in crude oil, we have a number of other initiatives. One is associated with our attempts to launch a deliverable futures contract on the basis of the seaport of Primorsk in the Baltic Sea, which we have been doing for several years now, but it didn't fly, frankly speaking, with Russian companies. I'll get back to that later. And also in terms of physical crude oil, we are...
Alexei, I'm sorry, we have a couple of minutes only, okay?
Okay, all right, yeah, I'll wrap up quickly. So in crude oil, the major things are deliverable futures contract and electronic auctions for sales of physical volumes. Wrapping up, and you know, this is basically the key topic, the essence of my presentation. Wrapping up, we believe that forming a price in an organized market, be it electronic auctions or exchange trading of physical volumes, or trading of deliverable or cash settled contracts, is basically the major trend for commodity markets years into the future. Virtually for every type of commodity, timber, coal, fertilizers, crude oil. I think a lot of changes coming to the global crude oil market. I think there will be changes to the system, how the prices are formed. I think the physical market will play a much bigger role, and the physical market not through the assessments by the price reporting agencies, sorry, but through actual transactions which take place on different kinds of platforms or exchanges. We have seen very initial signs of this. We are developing this inside Russia, but I believe as a result of the crisis, the trend will solidify. And I hope that I will have a lot of opportunities to discuss all that with all of you in blood and flesh very soon. And I wish you all good health, and see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alexei, for this brilliant presentation. Спасибо большое, Алексей, за эту великолепную и очень информативную презентацию. Спасибо.
Just a couple of quick comments. First of all, Chicago Mercantile Exchange has just informed customers of the possibility that prices will turn negative again in certain contracts. So they think it's a possibility. On the other hand, I think given that so many countries are already exiting the lockdown period, I don't think the fall in gas consumption will be as dramatic as what we have seen in fuel, especially given the fact that gas is used for different needs. So I think in any case, the problem with gas will be less acute than with diesel and gasoline. That's my take on it. Maybe Ahmed will say something as well.